Howdy-o, everyone! Last thing here, back in action for the 23rd of October, 8:52 a.m. Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. As we have to defend Von Zeke's previous college roommate, or at least friend. I don't know if they're roommates, but they definitely give that vibe. Suffice to say, I don't know if we exactly have a great case to make him free. But I'm starting to think that's what's going to happen. Regardless. Can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Oh! Mr. Naruto! Good morning, Professor Hairbrain. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure here is so off the charts. I've never felt anything like it. It's crushing me. I feel it every time I'm here. That gravity. Well, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Ah, yes. Well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruto? I'm counting on you in today's trial to save my life! To save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public! Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. After establishing an explosion 2 days ago, was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about. Really. Justice will prevail. My congratulations, Mr. Naruto. You appear to have been lumbered of a most tiresome case here. My condolences, Mr. Naruto. It seems that you've gone to a tiresome case here. Mr. Sloams? I didn't expect to see you here. That was very mean, Runo. Leaving me all alone at home with Hurley? Took me at least an hour to wake him. Is it? Are you? Hillock Shloms? Indeed, sir. I am he. Herlock Shloms. Oh, I've heard all about your exploitations, even whilst living in Germany. Ah, yes. Rancid magazine is on sale in Germany, too. This month's installment was sublime. Your introduction, the adventure of Silver Blaze, was wonderful. Ah, yes. A memorable, case indeed. Concerned a snake, I seem to recall. No, that was the Spectacle Band. Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh? I have urgent business at Madame Dispense. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork abduction, of course. Madam has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? The week's wages depend on it, as does the safe return of the wax work, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then. I understand. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description. Well, then you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley. Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have quite insatiable desire for a pie. When one of the university's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh, yes, quite! Definitely! Absolutely! I totally understand! Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Harebrained. Oh, I thank you! Before I depart, Miss Naruto, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as this super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exposition, is quite impossible. But the professor said the demonstration was a success. Yes, it would appear that he verbally believes it was. I read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Bruno. And I have to say, I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? How could an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial. I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley! Well, it looks like you're on your own today, Bruno. But chin up, you could do it. Oh, what about you, Iris? No, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something I need to do. I see. It's gonna be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. Ah, that sounds ominous. Counsel of the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Make your way into the courtroom at once. Oh, we're on our way. Experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed. And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Inosuke. That's the key to this case. The 23rd of October, 9:10 a.m. Old Bailey courtroom. Who we got here? They seem all to be all new. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrained. I now call upon the consuls for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. 6 months out of practice. What's more, I'm without Susato to sound today. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. O.D. Osmond. Mr. Osmond was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zieks. But the jury unanimously found him not guilty. As every member of the jury had been bribed for the sound of it. These powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on the 21st of October, Mr. Osmond met his end. A work of the Reaper, was it? If that is how your lordship would ascribe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Osmond's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you may have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. And are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? Most grateful to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. Do you have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand? Oh gosh, oh golly. Sends shivers down my spine. Science experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances. All sports scholar that defiles the reputation of science deserves to be hit.
We haven't listened to what's said on both sides of the fence. And, that's settled on one. That's it, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't like that in my day. It wasn't like this at all. That's... Police killer Overman. A look-alike again. He's as exhausted as ever, it seems. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, the incident we are ready to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exposition. Shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the specters. A tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So your opening statement, please, Lord Van Zieks. At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. From the science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exposition to improve Britain's technological advances. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord! It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are sequentially reassembled. Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure.
Disassembling people electricity. My goodness. How shocking.
Oh, the whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society. Are you not? An expert in your field? I am, and my word of the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock.
So this expert and Mr. Slums are in agreement. It's impossible.
What is the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert that the accuser's instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What? What rot? Order! The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant will be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Osmond's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. But, This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Thank you, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witness to substantiate your claims. Gladly, my lord. Bailiff, show the first witness to the stand. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. Tobias Graceland, Detective Inspector, Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration of the day in question and in charge of the full investigation. Albert Helbring, scientist. You were born in England but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years. Correct? Yes. Yes, that's right. After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery. Which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exposition. What you demonstrated was incredible, alright? Incredible explosion. But the science was a success. The instantaneous condenses worked. If anyone saw it, there must have done. Yes, there was a terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success. Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by the forensic investigation team. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibit, no less. That's right, my lord. Seems the victim rammed straight into it. I see. Very well, submit the photograph as evidence. Okay. As the court's heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Osmond. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being, he was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself. I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of a man who funded his work. Would that be correct? Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right! I must be it! My splendid machine! My poor splendid machine! I saw it yesterday. You saw it yesterday, didn't you? Can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the special disposition for Scientific Equipment Act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? With that being the case, how can the facts be established? How could it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious attack? Extremely simple, my lord. I beg your pardon. Isn't that right, witness? Sorry, me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir. He was a murder, plain and simple. Anyone could state that with complete certainty. What? How could he possibly think that? Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder. A front for murder. The corpse that went crashing through the Crystal Tower had a broken neck. I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam project. That's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion on his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. The victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have done it. Extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart. Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have been all but instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. No, and no! That can't be further from the truth. I have the other experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. The victim stood himself inside something called the bird cage, ready to be beamed instantly. To the second level of Crystal Tower, about 25 yards away. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in mid-air, from where it essentially fell, crashing through the glass of the Crystal Tower's large round window. My word! One assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower, then. I'm so sorry! I didn't mean for this to happen! The machine was just too powerful! Honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident! A terrible accident! Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying? This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like to enter into the court record. The request is granted, Consul. Oh no, not an update. I was there in person, you know. Saw the whole ludicrous performance. The only other person on the stage was Mr. Opsiman. Oh, that was the disgraceful, excuseful scientist. And really, by all accounts, it must have been him. Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well, counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. Alright. Where's the thing? Force went crashing through the Crystal Tower, had a broken neck. Let's press that a little bit more. Hold it! Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly. Which highlights something else about this whole rum business. What's that? The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success. After the explosion, the cage was with the fellow inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair. So though the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did actually occur. Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster? A minor miscalculation. I don't think it's this. We can keep going. So let's press this more. Hold it! Another fatal injury? You say? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't think it'd hard to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it? You're right. Obviously, at first, we thought the bloke had died due to the spine snapping in half as well. But you're saying that's not the case? You'll get your answer once I've finished my fish and chips. You don't keep butting in every second. We all know that's a bottomless bag. The victim plummeted 30 feet into the glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that that as the cause of death. Right, that's what we all thought. But it was a red herring, wasn't it? A lesion on his chest. What does that mean? Hold it! The defense knew nothing of this crucial information. The prosecution received this report from the forensics investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense. Oh, he actually apologizes for that. Most don't. Sarcastic and insincere. Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object? Among the accuser's tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This. Oh yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver, wouldn't it? No! There he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew! Andrew, of course. Ah, do you know each other already? He is one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big, happy family. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother, Michael, is a glasshead. Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shirt. That isn't... It's blood. Beyond all reasonable doubt. No! And that's not all. The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound. What?! Order! The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence. Okay. So one of the professor's harebrained tool is the murder weapon? Great. Was killed before he went anywhere. Okay, we gotta press it. What grounds do you have for saying that? Do you really need to ask? There were only 2 people on that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odie Osmond, and the accused, Professor Harebrained. We know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right, I saw him with my own eyes. Furthermore, following the explosion and kineticus, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly have done it. But... Excuse me! Professor Harebrained, do you have some information that may be relevant here? Professor? Sorry! I was just calculating the ultimate, coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules in the human body! And the witness stand is the best place for that? It seemed as though you might have something to say about Inspector Grayson's last remark. Yes, he is the right, of course! He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Who else would have stabbed the victim, eh? I don't know, but there's no way that I could possibly have stabbed Mr. Osmond, as you say. Huh? Explain. Explain, please, Professor. Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But the humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins. I had it. This Schiller, you see. If I had plunged something the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. Ah. And dozens of others were watching me at the time. And yet, not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood. Well, no, I suppose not. You see, not one! True. I didn't see anything like that. Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Order! Order! Pray forgive the discourtesy if I save a drop from my hollowed chalice to accompany my old friends abducting. Here's to you, Albert. Oh, you're too kind, Barak. But I'm really not a patch on you. No, you're not. No? You neglected to mention one cruel possibility. I have. A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Ah, of course. Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir. Where are they going with this? Very well. You will amend your formal testimony, Rao, Inspector Grayson. What the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beaming through the air. Beaming through the air? Hold it! Why would you think that, Inspector? Of any wound, it's only when you pull the weapon out that provokes blood occurs. Whilst it's still lodged in the body, it acts as a stopper of sorts, or a want of a better word. I see. You don't need a medical degree to be aware of this fact. Common knowledge for any investigator. Where's this other sound when you need her? You asked me, this bloke masked what he was doing from view, with his body rifle stabbing Osmond in the chest. Then he banged the victim off to the stage with his fancy device, the screwdriver still where he planted it. I would never do such a thing! Not to my precious tools! I would never use them for such dirty work! You only use tools for their intended purposes! That's common knowledge for any scientist! The fact remains, the lack of blood at the scene can easily be explained, as the prosecution has demonstrated. But that's all the testimony I have to work with. I had no idea the victim had been stabbed. Changes everything. Did Van Zieks keep that to himself until now on purpose? To gain the advantage? Oh well, I suppose all I could do is press these witnesses for as much information as possible. Alright, I think we need to go to the next one, just so we have them all. Hold it! So the angle of prosecution is... So the angle of production, so the angle of projection is critical, is it? You calculated it yourself, personally? Absolutely! The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out. Only you got it wrong, didn't you? That's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake. Do people fall for that crazy confidence? I should try it. I took into account the subject's height and weight and the wind direction and the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I don't understand how this could have happened. Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Osmond was wearing at the time, I suppose. Calculate comments! That should have been 3! So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third. Okay, so if it's not that, we're not going to present, but we are going to look at this. Examine. This is blood. Mr. Osmond's, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. Okay. I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. The same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill of the floor of the Kinesis machine. Which could be important information, though I should definitely make a note of it. Oh. In the base of what remains of the Kinesis machine. This very distinctive handle. Okay, so yeah, I think I know what they're going with here. Must have been left in his body whilst he was beaming through the air. That's not the case. So, we'll go ahead and present it next time. Until then, though, thank y'all for watching. Sayonara. Bye-bye.